What's up everybody, thanks for joining. Today I'm going to be covering what I think are the best settings of the XIM Apex. And I'm going to be covering this through the app. There's a XIM Apex app. And then I'm also going to be showing you on the keyboard why I selected these. And you have to remember the way that XIM Apex works is a little bit different than a PC gamer. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so I'm first going to be showing how to set it up on the XIM Apex app. Or how to get to your settings on the XIM Apex app. And the way it connects to your XIM Apex is through Bluetooth. So you're going to have your Bluetooth turned on at the top, and here I do. And so the settings that you see here, the first settings that you see, and actually let me go back because there's a whole lot of games in here. So like if you do a new config, you can actually choose a different game, but we're going to talk about Fortnite today. And the way that you're going to come to a screen like this, and you have to select which console you're on, and I have an Xbox, so I chose Xbox, but you'll be able to choose your console. And then you'll hit that pen at the top to change your settings. And as far as the aim sensitivity, it's going to tell you to set your sensitivity within the game to the max that it's available, so 1 and 1. But in here, I would play around with it depending on the DPI of your mouse. To change your hip and ADS, and just go into like creative and Fortnite and mess around until you get the sensitivity you like. I think it defaults at around 15, but I'm playing around with it right now, so I have it around 19 or 20 on hip, and then ADS, that's aim down sights. You can change that as well, similar to just changing it in Fortnite.
So now getting down to the keys themselves and how I map them with inside of the XIM Apex app. WASD is how the movement is done, and that's on your keyboard. And how you normally do it on a console is through the joysticks, but since you don't have joysticks on here, you have to map it to that. You don't change that, leave that the same. Everything else down here can be customized, and I did sort of customize most of it. The first is your right trigger and left trigger, and you map those to your left mouse and your right mouse buttons. And that's pretty standard, that's like a PC player, so just leave that the same. As far as what repair is, and also I have this as reset, and I think this is typically reset in the default controller options, so I would have that as C. And then sprint or place a trap and things, I have that set to shift because that's the left stick on an Xbox or PS4. And then your right button and your left back button on your controller, I have that set to E and Q. And that way it can be closer to the WASD on the keyboard. So I'd keep it that way, and that's also your floor piece and your roof piece. And then your jump or A, I have that set to space on the keyboard. B, which is build mode, I have that switched to F. I do not have edit bound to that though. I have edit bound to X. And I'll show my settings with inside of the Xbox in a little bit. And then R is reload or interact. And that's normally X on the Xbox. I have my Y or toggle pickaxe or change weapons to 3. And I have that set to 3 because 3 is pretty close to the W. So that's why I have it that way. Z, I have that as up D-pad to interact with my map. And that way it's a little bit out of the way. I don't hit it when I'm hitting other things. And then down D-pad, I have that as the emote button. I have that set to 1. The right D-pad I have set to X. I don't really use that, so that's why I have that there. And left D-pad I have that set to 5, and that's your switch building modes, or your switch building materials, or switch to a trap. So that's why I have set to 5. And then the menu buttons I have set to 4 and tab. And then the Xbox button I have set to escape. So those are my settings inside the app. I'll be showing you why I have them set this way on the keyboard, and I'll also be showing you my settings inside of the Fortnite Xbox game itself. So I just quickly wanted to go over why I have things set up the way I do, and I wanted to do that by looking at the keyboard itself. So I have WASD as the movement, as I said before, and then I have Q and E as swap weapons. So this is left trigger, this is right trigger, and this would be your roof piece, and this would be your floor piece. And this is your switch building modes, the F. So all of that is close together, and that's why I have that way. And then these are the movement keys. So that's why I also have the pickaxe up here, because it makes it easier to get to the pickaxe and switch weapons. And then as far as getting to edit mode, that's right here. And then my reset button is right there. And that way your reset and your edit are real close together. Makes that easier. Your jump is here just how it normally is on a PC player's. And then my place a trap is here. It makes it a little bit difficult, but it's not too bad. And then those are basically the essential things that you want all together. And then the other things are on the mouse. Your wall and your stair is on your mouse.
Okay, now I wanted to cover my controls within the Fortnite game on Xbox itself. And first I'll be going over combat controls. And just thing to keep in mind is that I have all of my settings on custom, as you can see in the controller configurations on the left. And the main thing that's different here is that the edit button is mapped to the right D-pad. So just make note of that over there. And if you see anything else that's different than yours, then just take note on the screen, and I'll put this at the end of the video just so you can take a look at it for a longer period of time. And same with all the other controls as well. So that's the main thing to know, just to keep edit a little bit faster, and so that you don't have to have a long edit delay, is just to have the edit on the right D-pad there. And the next thing is my build controls. And same thing over here, the edit is on the right D-pad on this one as well. And you can see all my other settings in here, and I'll keep those at the end as well so you can see them for longer. And you can also see that my X is unbound, and I have a couple other things on here that are unbound. Feel free to bind them to whatever makes you feel comfortable as well. And again, it's in custom mode as well. And lastly, I just have the edit mode. Confirm and select is left trigger and right trigger, and then those again, when you're doing your ZIM Apex, it's going to be on the right mouse button and left mouse button. So that's just something to keep in mind in there. And I'll put these at the end of the video so you can take a look at them, and in case you want to have the same exact settings that I do, or if you want to think of ideas for how you want to set yours up.
Another thing I wanted to quickly discuss was the selection of the gaming mouse, because there's, you know, the type of mouse you have is going to affect the way your ZIM Apex is going to work. So I have two mice here. One, I have an old gaming mouse that I had, and the newer one I have is the Ninja Air 58 mouse. And like I said before, this is going to be your shooting, and this is going to be your aim if you use ZIM Apex, and this is going to be your wall piece, and that's going to be stair. And it's pretty simple, but the one thing to keep in mind is that ZIM Apex, you can't, inside of it, you can't map the additional buttons within the app. You actually have to do it within computer software. So on the Air 58, you're only gonna be able to map these two buttons because there's no really software that comes with the Air 58. You normally do it with inside the video games on a PC. But on a mouse like this, it's a UTech mouse. It comes with its own software, and then you can set all these buttons to keyboard buttons within computer software itself. And so this might be a little bit better for you if you want, like I used to have the pickaxe, and you could put building pieces all over here. You can put swap weapons on the side. This is a heavier mouse though, so that's the downside, but you can map more things here if you want to play it that way. So that's just something else to keep in mind. This is going to be lighter, but you can only map, you can only map these two. You can't map anything else. And there's only 4 DPI settings on the Air 58 as well, where on this you can have various, like you can have a bunch of different DPI settings. That's just something else to keep in mind when you're thinking about the ZIM Apex, and if you're thinking about buying the Ninja Air 58. I wanted to thank you guys for watching today, and make sure to subscribe to this channel, but also make sure to check out my other videos about the ZIM Apex and all my other gaming videos on this channel. Thanks for watching.